Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Mouz Sports and Kaipi Gaming. This here is a best of one. It is part of the first round of the Agadams Cup, the cup number 3 for the Premier League Season 5. We're seeing these two teams going at it here, so should be an interesting matchup between these two teams. Mouz Sports have been doing impeccably in the past couple of cups, so I expect a lot out of them, but of course, Kaipi, always a bit of a wild card. When they're on their A game, they certainly show it, and we'll have to see exactly what they're bringing today. Going on into the draft here. Going on the screen at the very least. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I am Blaze. Joined here is my co-caster, Triumphant Man. What's going on?
I want to start this cast with an apology to Mouz Sports. I bet rares on them, 4 rares in fact, so their chance of losing this match went up to around about 89%, I think, because I often lose my bets. But we're going to kick things off with a respect ban here for Come With Me, knocking out the Visage. I want to mention that Kaipi are likely to forego their usual strategy for 2 reasons. They usually go for the late game right-click carry, but couple of reasons I think they're going to go against this. One, they have a defense game coming fairly shortly, so I think they'll go for a fast lineup. 2, going late game with Black Son of Burning is not usually something you want to try and do. It sort of revolves around you need to outfarm him, and it is very difficult to outfarm Black, so I think they're probably going to see them go for a fairly early oriented lineup, or sort of a 30-minute lineup where they get the lifesteal and that sort of stuff. And they did this against Mouz Sports about 2 days ago. I think it was during Star Ladder. They had Sing Sing as a stand-in. I think it was for RTZ. Sing Sing was standing in, and they actually won against Mouz Sports, if memory serves me correctly. So I think we'll probably see them go for something like that again. But in this case, they have also banned out the Beastmaster as well. All right then, so Mouz Sports, they're also knocking out the Bane there, Blaze.
Yeah, really interesting bans. It's really about the hard lockdown here, either multiple familiar stuns or things like Fiend's Grip and Roar. It's something that neither team wants to deal with here. It's just really that hard amount of disable. They want their carries to be able to move about the battlefield. They want to let them do their thing, and so if they get the farm, it translates into a very direct damage approach rather than them getting locked down and picked off and killed before the fight even starts. So that's the kind of a thing that they're looking for here, maybe seeing a little bit of the long-range Beastmaster play that they've seen before, but by taking out heroes like Beastmaster and Lone Druid, of course you do leave what was considered the top tier heroes of the past iteration of Dota 2, like the IO. Wisp will be brought back in. He has received a couple of nerfs. Mechanically, still very well-founded, but we'll have to see exactly what they can accomplish with it. It's really about what you do with the hero more so than what it's providing here. So the IO is going to be great in the mid-game, but for right now, in the laning phase, of course, he is going to have some weaknesses there. In contrast, Batrider are going to do amazing in the early game, whether it be in the jungle, farming very rapidly against neutral stacks, or having some of the best 1v1 potential in the game. Either way, Batrider is going to be a great position to just take the game away with some good momentum built up through a Blink Dagger.
Honestly, I think Wisp is equally as viable as he was before. He didn't really get nerfed that hard. You can't scout with his orbs as easily anymore. He needs to actually hit something to see what's going on. And obviously, Overcharge got a little bit of a nerf. But his main ability to relocate and turn what is a 2v2 or a 3v1 into an equal or better fight in your favor is his big draw card, and I think he still has that in spades. So I think he's equally as viable as he was. But Lifesteal are going to be picked up by Kaipi, though. The question is, what are Mouz Sports going to pick to go with Iron? Now they've got the full range gentlemen. They go Sven, they can go the Tiny, they can go for the Chaos Knight, of course, is the old school one. So I mean, they've got a complete choice here. They might even just say, you know what, we'll save it, see what we want later on. And because I mean, they've got plenty of time to pick it up, especially with the new banning system. Yeah. But Mouz Sports, I think they're probably just going to pick up their mid and their supports first. They'll save the carry until last, because I mean, IO, it's kind of, you can pick any strength carry. I mean, you can even throw on the Ursa with his buffs as well. Ursa, of course, much stronger in the laning phase now. The fact that Fury Swipes actually sticks on a hero for a much longer period of time. Mouz Sports also picking up the Nyx. Nyx was actually used against him very effectively. Kaipi used it against him very effectively the last time they played, so no real surprise to see them pick this one up. And he's got good ganking potential, and of course, he's just really frustrating to play against. Of course, the Carapace as well, a huge pain in the butt if you're trying to sling AoE towards his team. And of course, his ability to set up fights as well, absolutely fantastic, come out of nowhere. Same as Ira, they can just turn fights that look like they're in favor, bait them into a bad position, and beat them down. But I'm expecting him to play more of a support role than a solo mid this match. So, yeah, in this situation, they, of course, are just kind of piling on that aggressive potential. The gank-oriented play is going to be really substantial, but they're not revealing their hand just yet. They're going to let the hardcore damage dealer, their carry, that goes along with the Wisp to kind of be a little bit behind, and I think that's really the best move they can make here. The no-brainer would have been Lifestealer, because of the fact that the Bane
And the Beastmaster, two of his hardest counters have been banned out, as well as the Lone Druid, which is one of those guys that he has a bit of a love-hate relationship with. Either way, taking those out, Lifesteal is going to be a great hero to put on the field, and Mouse Sports would have loved to eat that up. But now that they don't have that option, they're going to say, okay, well, we still have like 4 or 5 different great heroes that'll work with the Wisp, and instead we're going to try to go and yeah, make it work for us. So they're going to go and hide out their hand a little bit there. And in the meantime, that leaves Kaipi to ban out heroes like the Chaos Knight, the Darkseer, and heroes that would go really, really well with Wisp, but aren't necessarily the hero that Mouse Sports had to have to make their lineup work.
I mean, they're banned at the Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight's probably the most gank-oriented sort of hero that goes with the Wisp. You can, of course, use Sven as well as the Tiny, but they tend to be less about the ganking and more about just showing up for the odd fight, and then more about the sort of the mid-game where they can completely dominate people. And, of course, Tiny getting the late game with an Argument Scepter is really, really scary as well. But I think Chaos Knight's probably the big one, just because he's so hyperactive ganking on the ganking and really, really powerful in the fights. Well, I mean, you get a good Chaos Bolt on someone, it's pretty much lights out for them. And of course, Reality Rift is a huge, huge pain in the butt. But Kaipi now, I think it's going to be time for them to pick up some of their supports to go the lifesteal. And the question is what they're going to grab to go with it. And it's actually, no, they're going to pick up what is probably their mid. So this means Batrider are likely to go either to the jungle or to the side lane.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is not only like a strong hero to pick up, but at the same time also denies Fata from getting his hands. Of course, Fata plays an amazing puck, so I think a solid choice there from Kaipi.
Yeah. So taken out from the hands of Fata, and of course Arteezy. There's been plenty of stuff on Reddit about his amazing puck plays, and in general he's a great dueling player. He loves to go kind of that 1v1 matchup where you can outplay through the usage of skills and such. So Phase Shift, definitely one of those skills that you can really get your money out of if you really apply it appropriately. But either way, Arteezy's gonna be on the puck, Bone 7 on the Batrider. And that's going to be expected. Bone 7 loves that Batrider, but the question is where? Are they going to go aggressive dry lane, leave him in the safe lane solo? Are they going to put him in the jungle if he doesn't feel safe on bottom? I personally would prefer the former, because if you do aggressive tri lane against the Wisp, you're generally going to win that lane because of Wisp's low presence before level 5, level 6. And yeah, as such, of course, it does make sure the Batrider gets pure solo experience and a 1v1 opportunity, generally speaking anyways. So I think that would be a good position for them to be in, and it would get more advantage out of what they've picked up thus far.
I would have to definitely agree with that. And I mean, even if they don't pick up some kills in that lane, at the very least they'll be slowing Iron down, because he wants to jump into the jungle and start farming and get those pulls happening, because he really, really needs to get that level 6. So if you keep him stuck in the lane, supporting somebody and defending them, he's going to spend so long trying to get to that level where he's got his ult and he's got the ability to sort of stay in a fight, that it's really going to cut down their window of opportunity to start ganking heavily. But Clockwork, going to pick up the Clockwork. Now, this, of course, isn't as good as he once was against the Lifestealer, with the Cogs no longer knocking him back while he's raged. But that said, I mean, you can always just use Clockwork to pin at him. And the easiest way, of course, is ult in, hook in, catch him inside the Cogs, then 4-staff yourself out. So that's always still viable. But at the same time, I don't know if it's going to be that effective. I mean, they've got the Clockwork there. I think they're just going for some really, really long-range setups, I guess. They want some full. I mean, we've got Io's going to make someone super mobile. They've got the Clockwork as well. That said, I don't know how much they're going to be to gank. Puck's a really slippery hero to try and catch. Lifesteal, of course, can rage up. I mean, they're throwing in the Treant now as well. And, of course, the Treant makes it incredibly difficult to gank people. In fact, what was that Loader? Was it Loader raging on Twitter about having to try and fight a Treant? His living armor is actually pretty irritating to try and kill.
It wasn't even just a Treant. It was a Treant plus Our Devourer. So you get the amazing last hit potential plus the huge survivability. And honestly, it's going to, although you don't get that last hit potential, with this lineup, it's going to be hard to bring anybody down. Lifestealer, survivability with Rage, Puck with just how slippery of a hero he is, the Phase Shift, and of course his Jaunt is just an amazing escape mechanism. And add in those few seconds that you are vulnerable, you have the Treant armor keeping you active. And Mouse Sports doesn't really have any high damage output. That's their next couple of picks. So in this phase, they have to be like, okay, what will be able to deal with the fact that guaranteed the one that we want to be killing is going to have living armor, and they have to find something to pierce on through that.
Oh, not just that, yeah, of course the living armor is a pain, but I mean, just flat out right now, they need to pick up their damage deals, because you've got the setup, you've got Io, you've got Nyx, you've got Clockwork to set up. Now they need to knock out Punch, because I mean, if Clockwork gets in there, I mean, especially assuming he jumps on the Lifestealer as well, I mean, Battery itself's not going to go through the rage, so they need somebody to either pin him down in there, like either grab like a sort of a setup so they can get Bane and get the Fiend's grip on him. Of course, Bane's banned out, but they need somebody to follow up on him. Or they just need some flat out, just when Clockwork catches and disrupts the fight, they need the burst entrance, like a Queen of Pain. There we go, being picked up. So that's going to be their knockout punch that they're throwing in there. Probably the second hero that they'll pick up as well. To, in this case, probably ooh, probably they want their main hero for black at the moment. They don't really have a hero for black, so that's what they'll be looking for.
Hmm.
And I mean, they've got a few options open. Is it going to be the Sven? Is it going to be the Tiny? Or will it be something completely different? I mean, they could throw in that Ursa, and
Yeah.
you get an Ursa in the middle of a fight. I mean, you trap someone in the cogs and then have Wish teleport them inside it. Ursa inside there. That's really going to cause a bit of pain.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously none of these heroes will be able to benefit from the relocate at all. They have to pick up a very, very synergetic hero with the Wisp, but plain and simple because Nyx, I mean, he already has his own momentum initiation with Vendetta, Queen of Pain, her long-range Blink, Clockwork. He's all set with his hookshot, so they have ways of getting into good positions. They don't really need the Wisp, and so far this hasn't really been a Wisp-oriented draft, other than the fact that it's just very stable in the other lanes. But yeah, in this position here, the really big thing is Mouse Sports, they have last pick. The last band came through from Kaipi, so yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what they decide to go with. The Sven is the one that comes to mind automatically, because it does have a lot of potency with the stun, but I think Kaipi is prepared to deal with that. They have the Rage, they have the Phase Shift, both of them just kind of negating if that's the target of choice for the Stormbolt there. So yeah, interesting selection. We'll see exactly what comes on through, but what do you think about Kaipi's last pick? Presumably they're still maybe looking for aggressive try, but they would have to have a very effective range harasser if that's the case.
Kaipi, I think I think they want to definitely arrange support here. I mean, they've got plenty of good.
Nice.
Okay, I don't really see why they went for Chris. I mean, maybe they've got some method to I was about to say they might pick up something more like the Lena to follow up on the stuns and stuff. But Crystal Maiden doesn't really have the damage output to be fantastic. I mean, she's the other big issue, of course. She's one of her biggest issues. She's so slow, and her spells have a huge cooldown as well. So I guess they really, really want the mana aura for Trent to spam a little bit harder. I don't know. Whoa.
Oh, nice pick
Oh,
up.
wait, what?
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool. Phantom Assassin, of course,
Okay.
having tons of potential once she hits her strides where she gets the lucky crits. And actually, I haven't seen Black's PA, but I mean, we've seen how much he can do under pressure in other scenarios. So jumping on into this should be pretty interesting. But going over to the pickup of that Crystal Maiden. And specifically with that, I actually don't think it's about the aura at all. I think it's about the lockdown that the Frostbite provides, because you think about the base damage of Treant. He does 85 per right click. He has 62 on the lifestealer, and he can attack pretty rapidly once Rage is active. So come with me, all he has to do is pin them down. Put in Nova, put in Frostbite, something to make sure that Pila dies. Leech Seed guarantees a couple of good hits. Now come with me, we'll have to stay very far back. Like you said, he's immobile, he's squishy, but hopefully Treant's armor is enough to supplement that. And as a whole, it just makes their lane really, really scary. So I like it, but of course it does have its weaknesses as well. I guess every hero in Dota does. So it's going to be the squishy and early game immobile Wisp compared to the squishy and early game immobile Crystal Maiden. So we'll see how it plays out. But who do you prefer in that try versus try if it does come down to that?
I'm going to have to say, well, obviously they've got the Wisp in there, who's not fantastic. And yeah, you mentioned, I suppose that they can work. The CM's not such a big issue here, because if we think about it, Mouse Sports Triline, assuming that they run Triline versus Triline, their Triline is the Wisp is their only real range attack to harass back, and Wisp obviously doesn't have much offensive potential there. Not really a lot of offensive potential from the Phantom Assassin unless she really wants to overextend and risk herself. And I don't think she wants to go in toe-to-toe with Trent that badly as well. And then there's the Nyx. Now, the Nyx obviously has some serious mana issues early on. Level 1 Impale really sucks. And maybe that's partially why they picked Prism just to help with the mana burn. I'm not dead sure on that. But, I mean, it's not... Crystal Maiden, obviously, I mean, for the most part, at the moment, is considered to be fairly subpar as it comes to a range support, but at the same time, in this case, they're not up against a super hardcore tri-lane, so they can afford to go for something a little bit weaker. Now, I should mention that Phantom Assassin did get some buffs. Her blur is a lot stronger now in terms of evasion. That did get a bit of a buff, and I think that might be what they're looking for. It's going to be pretty irritating for Lifesteal, because a Monkey King bar isn't usually in his list to get items, so he's going to have to build a little bit differently this match, because, I mean, you can't really afford to be swinging at a 40% miss chance the entire game.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have to go for one of those.
No.
And that might mess him up a little bit, because it'll make him fairly glassy.
Yeah. Exactly. If he can't connect on PA, especially with that blur now going up to 40, it's really, really difficult for him. So Monkey King Bar has to be his farm priority, but We'll have to see. They have to get kills in order to actually get in there at a relatively good time. Rune Spawn is going to be coming up in 5 seconds. They're pretty much in a good position for Kaipi to take that one up for themselves, and but it is going to spawn up top, unfortunately. One thing I do want to point out real quick is the smoke was actually wasted for Mousesports. It might have been a misclick or something, but immediately, like 2 seconds into the game, they pop off a smoke on all 5 heroes, and then they split up and don't do anything with it. So that expired, that was wasted, 100 gold down the drain, and I'm not sure who bought it, probably the Knicks, but either way, it's just kind of interesting to see that go to waste.
The only reason I think that they might have done that, the only real reason I can find to think of them doing that is to prevent a rocket from scouting. Actually, no, wait a minute. Never mind. I'm retarded. I'm retarded. Never mind. So yeah, no, probably a misclick. I can't think of why they would have done that.
Yep. But either way, we do see the lanes break down here. As we were kind of looking at, the aggressive trialing comes on through. Wisp and PA, along with the Nyx Assassin, going toe-to-toe with Lifestealer, Treant, and Crystal Maiden. She, very fortunately, is making sure her positioning doesn't catch her out. Because if an Impale and a Tether Stun connects from the Phantom Strike at level 2, it could be lights out for her very, very quickly, and that's going to be on Pilot Eye to make sure she has armor in every situation. As far as the solo lanes go, we do see Koikova doing some pressure out on Bone 7, but taking so many napalm stacks, it's difficult to hold the line. And I think really there's so much kill potential on every single lane. Of course, the Puck versus the Queen of Pain is a very fun man mode matchup where it's just like both heroes will probably drop down to 10% HP within the next couple minutes, and it's just pretty much down to the skill of the players who will be able to take it away. But yeah, and of course try versus try, you always have to be looking at that. So hopefully not to miss first blood, but we'll have to see. Right now, a lot of aggression across the map.
I want to point out also both the mids, I'm pretty sure they were pulled X regen there. That said, Puck is going to have the advantage because he is actually being sent living armor on the odd occasion. Their Treant is sending him that. Now Crystal Maiden, we'll see what she goes for at level 2. Probably going to pick up that extra root there from the ice, from the Frostbite, so I reckon she'll go for that. Meanwhile, though, top lane, I think this is pretty much a lost cause up here for Clockwork. It's going to be very difficult for him to stay in this lane, especially since the bottle. Yes, the bottle is being brought out for Bone 7. It's going to be difficult for him to refill that. Obviously, with the bottle refill nerfs, or the bottle crowing nerfs, and the fact he doesn't really have access to runes up here. But it's probably going to be enough for him to really just spam Clockwork lane. Like Clockwork's already seriously in trouble here.
Yeah, he's
already having to burn that potion.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of harassment. That's just going to remain to be the case. He will get his levels. He's not going to be fully shut down, and probably shouldn't even have a chance of dying as long as he positions himself appropriately until maybe there's either a rotation from bottom to top or the Bat Rider having the lasso up available. Of course, that changes things quite a bit. So, but either way, Clockwork will find his levels, if not his farm. But as we see, yeah, the Bat Rider, Bone 7, is picking up 14 CS against his 13, and that's going to only get better for him as the Magic Stick matters less and less. Matters a lot early on when the Napalm doesn't really provide as much damage, and as he has the lower HP and mana values, so it contributes more to his pool. So this first 10-stick charge is going to be a really, really big deal. But after that, it's going to start tapering off, and Bone 7 is going to have more and more control over the lane. Meanwhile, Arteezy just farming away, will have his bottle coming on out. That is, yeah, kind of giving 2 bottles at once, ferrying it across. And Arteezy, with a bottle, with the Treant's Living Armor, there's really not too many ways that he can be actually locked down unless there's a very, very unexpected transition.
I want to move on. It looks like they really wanted that aura from Crystal Maiden. She's actually picked up level 2, whereas the normal thing, even when she was being picked a long time ago, it was you get the Crystal Nova and the Frostbite straight up and just get her offensive capabilities right up. But no, and I mean, if you look at it, it's actually Trent's mana regen at the moment is 1.8, so she's getting 1 from the Arcane Aura, so it's more than doubled his mana regen, and I think it's really benefiting a lot of heroes, especially the Bat Rider is spamming really hard as well. It's practically doubled his mana regen as well, so he's really improving his spammability, and he is actually bottle whoring with the Crow still. So, I mean, for all the nerfs it took, it looks like he's not too bothered.
We're actually going to see a double Impale come on through. PA is going to be able to do a lot of right-click damage here. Spirit's doing a little bit, but it's only rank 1. They're going to be able to fall back here and pop off a salve on both Cinderin and Pause, coming back up to full HP. Black will just need 1 tank to get back up to snuff himself, costing a lot of mana from Kaipi. That was an opportunity for them, but fortunately Cinderin picking up a really nice Impale to counteract that engagement. We also see some flanking up top. Bone 7 will be able to harass back Koikova once more, but actually taking some hits by the Cogs, which will nullify. Actually down on bottom lane once more. Come with me. My drop. Yes, the Stifling Dagger will get the last hit for the first blood, coming out through a big tree right click, finishing off the Wisp in turn. So, yeah, 1 for 1, but of course the first blood going over to your Phantom Assassin is going to be a much greater impact than a supportive Treant picking up a kill for himself.
I think that's really unlucky. I'm pretty sure Crystal Bane actually got spotted up by this counter ward there, and that led to a dagger and the blink over the top of the trees with the Phantom Assassin. So I think it was actually fairly unlucky for her over there, but unfortunately, as it was, she gets picked off first. And as we saw in that fight down there, like, they missed out on the kill, and this is why, like, normally you would have seen the Frostbite picked up at level 2 rather than the Arcane Aura, just because it gives them that much more ability to lock people down and actually go for the kills, and the double impale was pretty much the end of their attempt to kill there. And surprisingly, and Crystal Bane also probably would have lived there, except for the fact that Trent, living armor was on cooldown, he'd already burned it.
Yeah.
But as it was, it looks like they will actually get the revenge kill there on Io as well. It's unfortunate that Black managed to pick up the first blood. He has actually gone for the poor man's shield as well, so he's actually fairly difficult for them to bust down, even with all those auto attacks. But on the top line, looks like Batrider's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he should be finished off here. The ultimate connecting from Koikova. He tries to die himself from the neutrals, but unfortunately, yeah, he brought himself his, he put his bottle on the courier. It was his main focus to get the courier out of there, and that put him in a position where that rank maxed out Battery Assault was able to do so much work to him. We do see Black taking a few hits here, but actually gets a really, really nice lucky dodge. Only 20% evasion at rank 1, but was effective enough to dodge out a big tree right click there. I want to point out, the build that Treant went, he has actually picked up a stout shield now, so if he has living armor on himself, they can't do damage to him at all. Like, he will literally be able to live through like a couple dozen auto attacks, just because how tanky this guy gets. He only has 1 armor, but because of how much block applies and how the interaction of living armor and stout shield works, there's just so much durability. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we do see right now that Queen of Pain is going to pick up the regen rune, leaving RTZ a little bit out in the cold. He's going to have to bottle Fairy to sustain on that lane. But in general, he's doing a pretty good job. Right now, the CS count is 31 and 9 for Arteezy and 28 and 1 for Queen of Pain, so she's doing a little bit worse for wear, but not the biggest impact. We're actually going to see another attempt on Come With Me down bottom.
Yep, they're going to jump in. The Frostbite goes down this time. Queen of Pain is there, throws in the Scream and the Sonic Wave. They're doing a ton of damage to Kaipi. Kaipi having to back up here. Come With Me in a serious position here. He has to back up there, but it looks like they are actually going to pick up the kill on Treant first. While now Puck's coming the counter-attack as well. Gets the Waning Rift in there as well as the Illusion. Now Queen of Pain gets locked down by the Dream Coil. The snap goes out there. Tries to blink away, but will be finished off by the Dream Coil snap. Nyx has also managed to snap it on himself, trying to get away there. We're going to have the orbs coming from Wisp. Wisp is down to 150 health. He's going to go back in there, just try and harass with the orbs. We've got the TPs back in as well. And it looks like, actually, was it a cancel on the TP?
Yeah, he canceled it. He didn't get stunned out, so I'm actually not sure why. Koikova could have gotten pick off there. If he got the ultimate off, he probably would have gotten something, but let's just hold the line up top and realize that if he did commit to that full TP, he would be abandoning this Batrider to easily pick up his blink within the next 3 minutes. So I guess it was a good decision in that regard, but there was possibilities to turn things around down bottom.
So it looks like they are. Well, I mean, that was a pretty. I think that was a fairly good result there for Kaipi. Worked out. I mean, getting the kill on Queen of Pain is definitely going to be a big thing. Obviously, you know, they want to kill Phantom Assassin. But at the same time, they're just keeping a lot of pressure on her at the moment. She's only on 16 CS, and that's going to be the big thing. As long as they keep pressure on her, it's going to be okay. And the big thing is Queen of Pain is going to be the driving force for Mouse Sports at the moment. She's going to be what's keeping them rolling, as well as Clockwork as well. So if they can keep kills on them, keep Queen of Pain suppressed, particularly stop her from getting an early Orchid or an early Hex, that sort of business, I think they'll be in a good position, especially if Puck can get his Blink or his Yules, whatever he's going for there. I think that's going to be a very big force multiplier once they get towards the 25-30 minute mark.
Now, one thing to point out is Fata did pick up his Sonic Wave at level 6. I mean, it's a relatively common build still, obviously, because that's when you get your ultimate available, but he committed the Sonic Wave down bottom and didn't really make heads or tails of it. Like, you would say that Kaipi definitely won out on that engagement as a whole. And so, as a result, committing your first ultimate from the Queen of Pain and not really accomplishing too much, and then Arteezy coming in and kind of being the nail in the coffin for that team fight, I really feel that Fata's kind of scrambling now. He needs to get his treads, start ganking, and actually make the most of his positioning. Because they started off, they got the surprise round off on Kaipi early in that engagement, but it just didn't really come out to too much in their favor. And things are going more and more in favor of Kaipi as time goes by. I'm not sure why Come With Me is transitioning up top, but it will give Batrider the time to just stack up and farm up his Blink Dagger very shortly. So I think they want to do that securely here with his Eastern camp.
Yeah, he's just going to keep it off. He's just going to make sure they don't lose an early tower, because Batrider, obviously, he's up to 1600 gold. He really wants that Blink Dagger. He doesn't want to get picked off the lane and have that Blink Dagger delayed, because if he picks this up in the next couple of minutes, that's going to be a very, very quick Blink Dagger, especially since he managed to die early on as well. So if he picks it up, and he's going to have that huge ability to just basically pin down the Phantom Assassin, that's going to be the big deal. If Phantom Assassin, if Black has to worry about getting jumped by a blinking Batrider all the time, he's going to be so much more defensive. And having this threat all the time is going to slow down his farm, because he's always going to worry about that. So I think it's a smart decision for them to make sure they get that Blink Dagger ASAP, and also getting a little bit of farm on Crystal Maiden now is not a bad option either, because she does need to pick up boots, because, I mean, obviously he's probably the number 5 position at the moment. Oh, we got the hook in the bottom lane, though. That looks like Pilot in some trouble. We'll get him powdered as one. He's likely to fall.
Nice chaos by
Just
Black.
some magical nukes.
That was a really good chaos by Black. Just throwing at the Stifling Dagger, perfect timing. And that only does like 75 pure damage, but yeah, just setting it up. So despite all that HP being chewed through very quickly, Black gets the most out of it. We do see on mid lane, though, Arteezy actually able to jump on in, and using that double damage very, very effectively. Dives the tower with the living armor active, and most importantly uses a well-timed waiting rift to make sure the Queen of Pain can blink away, and as soon as that's connected, can follow up with the Dream Coil. So really, really good movement from Arteezy, getting a very high-value solo kill, now putting his experience per minute at 560. And yeah, just setting himself nicely. Now down bottom, coming in, Arteezy is not done yet. Coming on through, trying to finish off, but actually doesn't connect with the orb. Just doing right clicks here, using that double damage to relatively great effect, but can't follow on through. Open Wounds itself is not that great of initiation tool when you don't have the follow through, and unfortunately Arteezy using his ultimate meant that they couldn't punish the positioning of Mousesports there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Lifestealer as well. Obviously, he's just going straight for Armlet, so he's not too bothered about the blur. And I mean, I suppose they just keep the pressure on. It's getting mostly down to Puck, as well as the nukes to keep the Phantom Assassin in the control for the early phase. I mean, she's pretty squishy at the moment. Needs to be careful though. Envy doesn't want to get too deep in here. He's got no backup, and these guys could quite easily burst him down. Looks like they are going to push the top lane though. Although, that said, they're going to back off. Batrider does have his blink now, though. And now he's going to go mid, I think. Go for the kill.
Yeah, coming on in. He does have that blink dagger. He really wants to make something out of it. But
he's up top still.
Yep.
Never mind, that was, come with me, that went mid.
So, interesting action down bottom was there was a Rage just barely dodging the tip of an Impale. If that Impale connected, a crit was coming out from PA that was going to do so much damage, but it was cancelled because they realized they couldn't actually engage on that position. So he infests safely, he gets tons of living armors, and he's going to be able to walk out of this, most likely, actually turning it around now onto Cinder and doing a lot of damage with that Leech Seed, but they cannot follow it through until they get one more to the party, and of course the staggered TPs makes that not much of an option. So they just kind of force them back, keep the Phantom Assassin on her toes while they just kind of farm away across the map. Also, up on top lane, we're going to see Bone 7 get slowed on down and the hookshot to connect to finish the job. So they get that easy pick, and Arteezy just going to cancel a TP. Meanwhile, coming back on the mid lane, Queen of Pain going to kind of stare face to face.
Puck doesn't have a rune up the bottom there.
Oh, wow,
jumps in with the blink of the Dream Coil.
Wow.
Very nicely done.
Yeah.
Easy killing Queen of Pain. I mean, this is the thing. As long as they keep her down, that's going to be a big deal. If Puck starts spiraling out of control, especially, like, Puck is one of those heroes who's really, really good against Trials, because you've got all these easy kills that are under-leveled and not that well farmed. He can really obliterate these weak supports and really sort of mess up. Although that said, Phantom Assassin actually has quite a few levels, especially if you've been given a lot of alone time in the lane. But that said, I mean, he's really good against these Trials. He's got tons of good AoE, and he can lock down these heroes really effectively as well with Dream Coil. So we'll see what he can do with that. But at the moment, looks like Clockwork level, almost level 11.
Active, going in, they want to kill the PA here. They get the vision, they pull Black north. They're going to be able to bring him down very, very quickly. So he's going to try to Phantom Strike out, but doesn't even get the opportunity. Come with me, even picking up an ultimate point to try to drop down that freezing field. Open Wound's going to come on through, onto pause, but he should get this tether link 2 seconds away. He's going to link to these creeps and should be fine. Oh, wow, that was not what he needed. He was spamming it so hard, he hit Q again, and he canceled the tether, which just completely sealed his fate there. Meanwhile, Arteezy picks up yet another freaking kill on the mid lane, this time on the Nyx Assassin. Cinderin, not even sure what he's doing there, but obviously not surviving or holding this tower.
And he's got a blink now as well. Should also mention, I mean, this is a smart choice from Come With Me getting his ult now.
Still action going on through. Koikova, really, really aggressive. Queen of Pain will do a lot of damage here. They want lifesteal. He's out of mana, so he won't be able to rage on out of this. Koikova should be able to connect with Cogs to bounce him away. No, just going to go for the Rocket Flare, but a nice infest dodge. Keeps Snakes alive, and now they're going to try to turn around on Koikova. Arteezy out of mana, bottling up with Agi-Treads active. Going to try to get at least Dream Coil off to keep him in this position here, but instead taking a ton of damage from that Battery Assault, having to fall back as Queen of Pain is still up and kicking, brings down the Treant. And really, really, really effective gank aggression up on the top lane, but not sure if it makes up for what's been going down on mid and bottom.
I was a clutch dodge there from Envy, making sure keeping himself alive. I mean, that's a lot of wasted time to be done. It's 2 heroes up there from Mousesports trying to get that kill on the, trying to get that clutch kill there that he wanted. Didn't get it at all. Envy gets away, finishes up his armlet. I think that's definitely, that works out for Kaipi just fine. The fact they obviously lost Treant, but Treant's not really farming a whole lot at the moment. Anyway, it looks like Batrider will have his regeneration reject from him. Bone 7 not going to walk away with that. But as it is, I mean, Fatter now, he's got his blink there. He's so dangerous at the moment. It's really quite scary. Staff of Wizardry being picked up by Clockwork. He's probably getting that 4-star fairly soon. Now, there was something I was going to bring. Oh, that's right. I was going to bring up the Come With Me's choice to get in the ultimate early. I don't see a problem with this right now because there are not that many great stuns to stop him. Obviously, you got the hook in from Clockwork. By the time Crystal Maiden commits, the main stuns, Impale, Hook, and probably Carapace are probably already going to be down. So he can afford to walk in and just drop it. It's not like every hero's walking around with a stun. His PA can't do a lot with it. Wisp has to get on top of him. And then obviously Queen of Pain doesn't have anything. So getting the early level in the ult, I think it's great. It's just that huge force multiplier as it looks like yet another kill in the bottom lane from Puck. Puck is just driving this match. And we were talking about RTZ. My god, he is definitely a very powerful Puck, but it looks like another gank in the forest. There's Synderen getting caught out there. Will they jump? And he will jump forward, throws at the orb. Waning Rift as well. No, jumps forward, goes up to Queen of Pain instead. Dream Coil is down though. And looks like that'll be the end of it there, Blaze.
Yeah, Blink Dagger's being put on cooldowns from Spirit. They can't follow through, but just great movement from Kaipi. Using that smoke to get down bottom. I mean, they committed the Dream Coil immediately just to make sure PA couldn't do anything in that position, so they burst her down hard. And if Black can't farm, Mousesports doesn't have a team. Like, the Wisp is all about providing steroids for Black in the mid to late game, and of course he needs a lot of good base items to start off, and also along... Well, actually, that's kind of counter to my statement, but really the only thing that Mousesports has going good for them is how many solo pickups Quickova has picked up. He pretty much just waltzes on in there with phase boots, locks somebody down with cogs, and especially if he has anybody else to help him out, can just completely destroy somebody. He's having to Treant 2 or 3 times now, as his KDA is 1-5-0. So Treant not having a great game, Quickova certainly is, but that's not true for the rest of Mousesports. PA getting locked down, current GPM values of only 247, and this is Black we're talking about. This is the guy that hits 600 to 900 on like every carry he plays, but right now just getting shredded by a lifestealer, and they might be able to go a little bit aggressive once Impale comes on through, but there's going to be follow-up. There's going to be allies coming on through. There is going to be initiation. There's Quickova right in the mix of things, getting the cogs off onto 2. Arteezy falling back, but gets a huge jaunt Waning Rift anyways. Still going to get locked down from Queen of Pain's ultimate, and Batrider pays the price as well. Now it's going to be Eternal Envy hiding out in the creeps. We'll kind of take that for a trip up towards the bottom right corner of the map, but we'll have to invest on that if he wants to dodge out from Quickova, who still has that hook available.
Yeah, he will manage to get away here. That was fairly decent result there for Mousesports, although they did lose, unfortunately, Black. And I want to say Black, definitely great farm, but what Kaipi have been doing, they've just been keeping so much pressure on him. And I want to say, at the moment, so the other thing, I think Tree is actually playing the 5 position. I don't think Come With Me is actually playing the 5 position. I'm pretty sure it's Paladai is playing that because he's doing most of the wards. Crystalmane's got wards right now, but they were bought by Tree and then handed over to her. And she's actually been given a little bit of farm, and she's becoming a lot, well, she's picked up some much needed help. Obviously, has picked up the drums of endurance as well. And this frees up, I like this, getting the drums on her, frees Lifestealer up as well, because normally he needs to get the drums to help him get into the fight. But in this case, it just allows him to pick up something else early on. He's gone straight the Armlet and the Orb of Venom. And we'll probably see him get the Assault next, I think, as well. And that'll probably help out a lot. Or he might even go for the Monkey King Bar, actually, because he really will need that later on as the Blur comes into effect. It's only level 1 at the moment, so not as big a deal.
But cautionary tale would be he should definitely be picking that up and making sure that he doesn't have to worry about the evasion there. But yeah, it's not every day that you see Crystal Maiden at all, but also a farming Crystal Maiden. Played in number 4, not having to ward as much, picking up drums, and now farming up stacks in the jungle. She actually used her ultimate just to clear out and get that extra GPM. Quickova actually has his 4 staff up and at him, so he's trying to go on Bone 7, but Zone 7 turns it right back around and picks up that ultimate on Quickova with a couple stacks of Napalm. There's no way he can get on out of here, especially with that force now on CD. So easy cleanup. Arteezy's going to try to go for a Jaunt, Blink, and Dream Coil, but instead just going to clear out the creep wave very quickly and push on the tier 1 top. Meanwhile, Lifesteal will have to go on the run on bottom. Nyx pursuing, has about 10 seconds left on Vendetta, but with the phase boost active, I think that Eternal Envy can actually avoid him. So Synderen knows that where his positioning is, but knows that he also cannot get that Vendetta strike up. So tier 1 tower falls up on the top lane, but no recompense for the lifesteal at all just yet. Really, EE has to be extremely careful though. He can rage TP at any point in time, but if he does get locked down, it might be very difficult for him to actually get on out of here.
Yeah, I want to put this is probably about as indicative of how much map control that Mousesports have lost. The fact that Envy can solo farm the enemy jungle and just dive into the bottom lane as deep as he likes and not really care at all. Obviously, the Rage TP is always a way for him to get away, but there is still a fair amount of physical damage, and he's not even bothered about the fact that Nyx could come out behind him and just lock him down with stuns. Or even, get to the point where he just loses all advantage, because he is actually using his mana on the odd occasion to fight or even just to farm. So, you get a couple of mana burns on him. If he keeps harassing with the mana burns, suddenly he's not going to be able to TP out. Come with me now down to the bottom lane though. Just going to chill out with him and back him up. They do spot him up. Those wards are keeping an eye on him there, so they know he's going to be there. We might even see Queen of Pain and Nyx go and just try and pick him off. That's probably the better option. You try and pick off Come With Me quickly rather than trying to go for the Nakes. Because there's not really much they can do unless they get a good stun and lockdown straight away. And there we go. I think they will just go for the Crystal Maiden. There's the Impale coming out as well. Scream on top of it, and Crystal Maiden gets picked off very quickly.
And Eternal Envy just going to have to go on the run. He was actually fortunately dodging out all these wards for a very long period of time, but he's still not done. He's going south, and they know it, so he's going to have to watch himself. But as a whole, yeah, Come With Me was doing a lot better in the jungle, just kind of farming things away, now kind of trying to make an impact on the map and put ganks out on Black. That's just not going to happen. Mouse Sports are committing a lot of resources to make sure Black picks up on farm. He was only sitting on like 50 some odd, now 70 CS. He's definitely ramping up, and the whole idea there is making sure the supports are there to avoid those ganks, make sure that he doesn't get 2v1'd and drop down. So he's going to pick up a Black King Bard, relatively good timing, and that'll nullify the effectiveness of a lot of the power tools of Kaipi. You can, of course, BKB out of the Overgrowth, you can avoid almost everything from Puck, and Crystal Maiden as well. So in that position, he's going to be a lot better off if he gets the Black King Bar up before Monkey King Bar is available for Lifestealer. And they just really are prioritizing him getting there. So farming up the jungle, farming up the lane. The one cost of the thing, if you look at it, you're seeing that we do have Mouse Sports' supports trailing behind. We have Cinderin only sitting at level 7 when he's one of those snowballing, ramp-up, gank-oriented supports that just isn't finding those kills because he's always waiting in the wake. Now actually making his move up top lane, but that's more to counterpush than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think Come With Me really should probably expect that he should probably know that there are awards here, because once you lose, like if you've got like the farming hard carry like Phantom Assassin, you lose control of the bottom lane. I mean, this is pretty much the two go-to spots. They've got to. If you want to farm this bottom lane, you've got a ward down here, you've got a ward over here. And I mean, you've always got to watch out for smoke ganks still, but these wards are going to be here just about any game you go to. That said, speaking of smoke ganks, Mouse Sports have smoked up and looks like they're headed towards the top lane blaze. They're going to try and pick somebody off here.
Oh, gets the blank at the perfect time. The jig is up. They are going to go for a hook shot with the rocket flare. No, not diving under tower just yet. Would have been a costly mistake if the Overgrowth came on through from that position. Just very defensible for the Treant. And instead, they commit a lot of time. They go for the smoke, even the Vendetta for the front lines. But unfortunately, with Cinderin checking out each and every little camp, they double back and find something they weren't ready to take. So good reflexes from Bone 7, avoiding that otherwise easy kill. And now going for a relocate. They have the opportunity to go. Oh, Paz didn't bring anybody. His tether broke. It's on cooldown, so he meant to send somebody, but instead Frostbitten and Freezing Field. That the Leech Seed comes on out, and Paz will fall here. Oh, they even commit the Overgrowth just because they can. Short cooldown. They have the mana regen for it, but yeah, that was a costly mistake from Paz. It probably would have been a really quick pickoff on Come With Me, but instead, whoever he tethered walked away from him, and they weren't coordinating well enough to actually get that kill.
In a game of throws, you win or you lose. I don't know what he was doing there. It's just one of those. It looks like Mouse Sports are on tilt here. They're just making mistake after mistake here, unfortunately. But as it is, we're going to have Fatta. He's going to look for the room. We'll find. No, actually, Batrider going to beat him to the punch. Picks up. I should mention Batrider has the travels as well. Batrider's super mobile at the moment. Going to be quite difficult to catch up with and keep pinned down. It looks like we've got the Vendetta up once again. Nick's looking for an opening here. Might try to go after RTZ. He could actually pick him off. No, he is backing off. And he will be just fine here. It looks like he's going to be picking up a Hex straight away there. And Cinderin won't want to go for this, although he's going to walk past a Dire Ward. That's not going to be good. They see the jump in there, the blink. They're going to pin down this Phantom Assassin. Gets knocked back by the Flame Break as well. They're going to counterattack on Bone. Cogs go down as well. Going to try and pick off Puck. Puck in some trouble. Will throw into the Dream Core. Ethereal drawn away. He will manage to escape. Wisp goes down as well. And now we've got the Infest in as well for EE. And they're taking around both the Nyx, the Clockwork, and the IO. And that definitely Kaipi winning a big swing there. It looks like, wow, actually, Envy going for a Desolator. Says, you know what, screw the Monkey King Bar, I'm not even worried about evasion.
Yeah, interesting decision there. I mean, they do have a lot of magic nukes, and the BKB has yet to be picked up, but still very ambitious to make sure that he can pierce on through the physical and just bring down heroes like Nyx and Queen of Pain very quickly, and even more so IO with his currently 1 armor, has 0 base, and now has got himself up to 1 with stats. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of physical damage coming in on Wisp, and that's the hero they definitely want to focus on at the beginning of the fights. That last team fight, breaking it down, I mean, it was split across. The Batrider was focused on one person, the Clockwork was trying to break apart the team fight on the other across the map, but it was really Arteezy that cemented it all together. When Kaipi had Arteezy blink on in and go for that ultimate, the Dream Coil, to really just keep them in place and do a lot of damage, as well as surviving with a really nice jaunt, suddenly that was 100% in their favor. They even picked up a Fleeing Wisp, so it just kind of shows the aggressive controlling position they have, and the fact that Kaipi just literally cannot die. They've died 12 times in total. They're going to pick up a Roche so they get the Aegis, and on top of that, they're going to be moving in towards very survivable heroes. Right now, Geometry Sight on the Crystal Maiden to counter-initiate on Nyx even more so than that last Sentry Ward did, and they should have a mechanism coming out relatively soon, as well as the Treant has saved up. As soon as Roche kill, we'll see he actually gets 1378, so stacked up pretty well. They do get the Aegis Immortal as well, and that's going to go to Eternal Enemy in just a moment. So, yeah, they're in a really, really good position. Just play aggressively and not really get punished too hard because the crits aren't there from PA just yet. And, yeah, honestly, the damage without a really, really good Aghanim or ultimate from Fata, they're not going to be able to actually net any kills.
Oh, man. This is definitely looking from bad to worse for Mouse Sports. That said, they are probably going to get this Tier 1 top tower. There's just going to be in defense getting mustered for it. So this will help out the supports quite a bit. I mean, obviously, we said Wisp really not doing too great here, along with the Knicks really struggling to get much money up there. Although, actually, no, Ports are coming in. They might actually be able to pick up a kill here. It's only going to be 2v4, though. The battle looks like Park. Wow, jumps in with the Dream Coil. Can I get the Nakes in there as well? I thought it was only 2, but in fact, he had a friend inside him. I missed the invest there. Now Batrider also got a force. Whoa, holy crap. Speeds to Batrider. Gets the lasso down, and Black now gets obliterated. Wisp as well. No, relocates out, but
he'll come back. He'll die one day.
He's coming back.
And actually, yeah, Nyx got picked off as well. Didn't even see that, but they just had good understanding of his positionings. Were able to punish him real quick with some action there, and Pause will fall really, really quickly. So that is 4 kills in total, 2 of them for Arteezy. And yeah, obviously not the fight for Mouse Sports we're looking for. They were just doing a little push aggression, but immediately punished with great movement of the Infest inside the puck, who's just so mobile, has the orb, has the blink, had that TP, and was able to go from one position all the way across the map in a moment. Speaking of, Clockwork hooking in onto Paladai should get the solo kill very, very easily, but a lot of healing coming in from this armor and from the Leech Seed, and Quickavo's just going to have to force staff TP away before Frostbite comes in to punish him.
I want to say, before anybody yells retard Wisp in the chat, Wisp most likely was trying to say poor old Black there, trying to teleport him out, but he got burst down way too good. Holy crap, that bat! My god, did he get into that fight quickly? Just came out of nowhere. In fact, oh, he's got a Mask of Madness. What the hell?
Okay.
Did I miss?
Well, you want movement
Well,
speed.
There you go. I was thinking, holy crap, he is going so fast. It was the Mask of Madness, zooms in, then throws in the 4-stuff and the blink. Wow, that is a super mobile Batrider. Kaipi doing some weird stuff, but it looks like he will be picking up a BKB as well. I assume that Boga Club's going to be turned into a BKB. I can't really see him getting anything else, so we'll see him grab that up. Tree, of course, actually getting... I mean, this is probably the big difference here right now. The supports on Kaipi so much better farm. Gem on Crystal Maiden as well. It's going to help her get total map control. I mean, let's see all these wards up for the Radiant side at the moment. Going to be going bye-bye in a moment. And that will pretty much, I think, seal the deal against Phantom Assassin. Like, Black's going to find no room to farm all. Although, I've got to give him a shout out. Like, he has really managed to catch up. 115 to 17, but this said, I mean, once he loses his map vision, he's going to have to play so defensively. It's not funny.
Arteezy actually extending very, very far. This is a 4 versus 2 coming on in. Could be able to turn around. Black taking a lot of hits, though. The last strike click not going to connect. But he does actually get dropped down into the hookshot not actually connecting fast enough. Instead, there's a lot of disables coming across to try to finish off Nyx Assassin. But they don't. He's running through the Firefly. He actually dies to it. And there's that overgrowth to lock down the Queen of Pain as well. Not able to blink away. In total, 4 kills. Amazing. The hookshot didn't come on through fast enough to save Black. The 2 on the front lines were able to keep occupied, the Queen of Pain and the IO and even Cinderin. So in that position there, everyone just got completely wrecked. And Kaipi, with that mechanism now unkillable, they just go in for the win very, very easily.
It's GG, yeah. I'm actually honestly surprised that fight went as well as it did, because I'm pretty sure Puck misclicked and used Waning Rift before he jaunted in.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he messed that up accidentally. So, but anyway, I mean, yeah, again, I apologized at the start of the cast. I got my res. So I've lost all my res. But yeah, when I bet on teams, they tend to lose.
Yeah.
So apology to Mouse Sports. I did bet on them to win. And it didn't work. So anyway, but yeah, no, definitely taking nothing away from Kaipi. There are obviously a few odd plays there from Mouse Sports with, Iro making up mistakes. But Kaipi, they had a plan. It was the aggressive trial, and Wisp, up against Wisp, it worked just fine. Run that aggressive trial against Wisp, it's so hard for him to have any lane presence. And even though they lost the first blood, they got the revenge kill straight away. So at no point were they really running out of control there. And obviously, Lifestealer got all the items that he needed to early on. Picked up all the items that he needed to. And he was actually going for a Monkey King, but it was the next item coming up. He's got the Demon Edge. Unless it was going to be a crit. I mean, that could have been a breezer, I guess, but I'm going to assume it was most likely a Monkey King bar, but definitely. Kaipi, they had a plan and it worked. I mean, Mouse Sports, they picked up the IO, thought, this is going to be a really good pick. And I'm honestly surprised they didn't pick something like the Phantom Assassin. Sure, she can farm like a god, but I was just screaming in my head, Ursa, I want to see the Ursa, because you do not want to brawl with Ursa. You bring Lifesteal to the table, Ursa, you go, you are dead. I will mess you up with Fury Swipes. Easy as pie. So anyway... I think honestly, the IO combined with the Phantom Assassin really screwed them over in that bottom lane.
I think PA was a safer pick and the potential for Black to actually get some farm because of Stifling Dagger and the fact that you can be under so much pressure and still get some last hit with some good timed nukes there. But it really, everything went poorly. With the fact that Koikova didn't rotate to go in for a 4 versus 3 early enough, with the fact that pauses, relocates really weren't on point, I don't think the PA was the exact problem. It was how many solo kills RTZ got on Thata over and over, and the fact that they've committed to a first pick Wisp that didn't pay off at all. I mean, right now I feel like the Crystal Maiden pick made more of an impact on the game than the Wisp pick, and that was the last pick versus the first, so...
Well,
yeah.
Here's the thing, I mean, Queen of Pain, obviously Fata losing the lane was not great, but here's the thing, they couldn't really rotate. I mean, Wisp is not great to counter gank with. I mean, obviously you can try to do some shenanigans in Tether and Blink, but he's not great to counter gank with. Low-level Nyx is garbage as well, because low-level Impale is terrible to try and gank with, and Nyx is obviously not very quick until he actually gets his Vendetta up. So there wasn't really, and once Puck started winning, they didn't really have any options to come and counter gank him, obviously. And the other problem was, of course, Koikova, obviously he takes a little while to get going. He needs to get the hook up before he can really come in and counter gank effectively. So they didn't have anybody to help Fata out. Obviously, RTZ outplaying Fata was really good on his side, but I think that really messed them up as well. And the other thing I think is weird, like obviously the Phantom Assassin was a safer option to farm, but they had the last pick. Mouse Sports had the last pick there. They could have, they saw that if that was going to be an aggressive tri lane, they saw they were up against a really weird one. Trent, not exactly a huge threat in the lane. Leicester is obviously a good threat, and then Crystal Main, not the biggest. She's no Lena. I'm just going to say Crystal Main is definitely not as big a threat as Lena in the lane. So I think they could have said, screw it, let's pick something super aggressive and fight back with it. Yeah. But that's just me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how the draft played itself out. When they lock in early with the Wisp and the Nyx, the best they could do is transition Nyx to the mid and pick up an aggressive support, but you're still kind of held back a little bit by that first pick Wisp. So as a whole, when the aggressive tri lane came out, it's obviously still just what the doctor ordered when it comes down to shutting down a Wisp tri lane, and of course it just didn't pan out. So Mouse Sports, despite doing extremely well in the past 2 cups, are actually going to be eliminated in this best of 1 in round 1 here. So that means Kaipi will be advancing. We'll be seeing them go up against Fnatic in a few hours from now. Going on into the second half of our round 1, though, is going to be our next couple of matchups there, so it should be pretty interesting. The first one coming up is actually going to be Alliance versus Roxkiss, so really, really cool one to see. Hopefully you guys will be able to tune in for that one as well, but at the very least, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary for this cast here. This was, again, Season 5, Agadim's Cup. Round 1, and it is going to be Kaipi advancing on forward, while Mouz go home with nothing, unfortunately. But they have a lot of points stored up. Should be enough to make them to the next round, no problem, without breaking a sweat as far as those playoffs, but obviously still want to stay on their game. Anyways, thanks for tuning on in. Thank you again, Triumph, for casting it up with me, and we'll be going on to this next game, Alliance versus Roxkiss, in just a few minutes.